Welcome to another class. Yeah, just like continuations of previous lesson. Today we join lesson 2, the same subject, geography, physical geography, class form 5, syllabus, revised syllabus of 2023, year 2025. The same presenter, Mr. Mustafa. Today's sessions we start with thinking about a number of questions. And actually, this is the one question, but in a different way. The first question that we want to think about, what are the drivers towards the drifting of the continent? Or what are the forces responsible for the drifting of the continent? Or others can ask a question like, are there any causes of continental drifting? So far, before going further, just subscribe to my YouTube channel for more follow-up for the next videos concerning the geography class. So, causes of continental drifting. Wegner and the other scientists, such as Arthur Holmes and Frank Bazery Taylor, proposed the three main causes of continental drifting, which are centrifugal force, tidal attraction, and convectional transfer of heat. Convectional transfer of heat. First, centrifugal force. The second is tidal attraction. And lastly is convectional transfer of heat. The centrifugal force. The rotation of the Earth created centrifugal force toward the equator. Wegner believed that Pangaea originated near the South Pole, that the centrifugal force of the planet caused the Pluto continent to break up and it resulted into a continental drift towards the equator. Once again, in this idea, as Alfred Wegner believed that one among the force which is responsible for the movement of the continent is centrifugal force, and this centrifugal force is the force that has been created due to the effect of rotation of the Earth. Therefore, Alfred Wegener believed that Pangaea originated near the South Pole, and that the centrifugal force uh, of the planet caused the Pluto continental to break up, and it resulted into continents drifting towards the equator. Alfred Wegener called this action the pole freeing force, called pole freeing force. So according to him, after breaking away from the Pangaea, the continent moved into two directions, namely equatorward and the westward movement. Equatorward and westward movement. So the equatorward movement of Sierra blocks was caused by the gravitational force and the force of buoyancy. And Wegener explained that the lightweight Sierra materials were floating without frictions on the relatively denser simmer materials. And equatorward movement depended on the relation between the center of gravity and the center of buoyancy of the floating continental masses. So here Wegner explained about the lightweight materials. Here we are talking about the Scio or Cyrillic materials, because the continents are of two sides. There is a oceanic. That's we are talking about the plates here or blocks. We have oceanic and a semantic, which means Scio in the continent and Sima on the ocean floor. That's why he explained about this Siariki materials, which is less dense than yoti than the semantic yoti materials, because they differs in density. Sayo has 2.7 gram per centimeter cubic, while Sima has 2.9 gram per centimeter cubic. So they are differ in terms of their densities. That's why he is talking about the force of buoyancy. The materials are floating due to its less density. Therefore, Alfred Wegener is continue to explain another cause of continental drift, which is a tidal attraction. Tidal attractions, according to Wegner, which says Wegner presumed that the tidal influence of the sun and moon gave the continent westward motion. This is a counter motion of the revolution of the earth. Wegner complimented the Taylor's proposal that the main driving force possible for the displacement of the continent was the tidal force. So according to Wegner, the attraction force resulted from the sun and the moon, which attained its maximum level when the moon was nearest to the earth, thus dragging the outer Sierric crust, which is so-called the continental blocks, over the interior of the earth toward the west. Towards what? The west. That's what Wegner believed after complimenting what has been said by the Taylor in his theories concerning the displacement of the continent. The main force is tidal force, and the Taylor and the Wegner put forward what has been explained by the Taylor concerning the tidal force in the inference of the continental displacement. Then lastly, cause according to them is a convection and heat transfer. Convection and heat transfer. So this actually is associated with the movement of the continent due to the number of assumptions. Let me give you some short stories about these convectional heat transfers as one among the believed factor of the continental drifting. In 1929, Arthur Holmes elaborated one of the Wegner's hypotheses about the idea that the mantle undergoes thermal convection. That is according to Arthur Holmes, as he elaborated one of the Wegner's hypotheses concerning the mantle to undergo the thermal convections as the one among the factor which cause the continent to move apart. And that's why this idea is based on the fact that when a substance is heated, its density decreases, causing it to rise to the surface, and when it cools down, it sinks again. So the repeated heating and cooling result in the current, which may be sufficient to cause the substance to slightly move. That's why this is associated with with the movement of the continent. So thank you for your time. Don't forget to subscribe, to like, to share, and comment If you have any idea, just write it on your comments or report through so as we can modify for the next coming session. Thank you.